Part 1. Ella's Life. A Controlled, Loveless World. Ella Rubenstein lives in Massachusetts, in a well-appointed suburban home. She is 40, married to a successful dentist named David, and has 3 children. Her life seems orderly, but inside, she feels numb, distant, and deeply unfulfilled. She takes a part-time job as a reader for a literary agency. Her first assignment is to read a manuscript titled Sweet Blasphemy, written by a mysterious author named A.Z. Zahara, who lives in Istanbul. The novel is a historical fiction centered on the spiritual bond between Rumi and Shams. Ella begins to read the manuscript and is soon drawn into the world of 13th century Konya, a time of spiritual upheaval, mysticism, and forbidden love. The inner novel begins in Tabriz, Persia. Shams-i Tabriz, a wandering dervish, seeks a companion, someone who can truly understand the 40 rules of love, which he's been formulating throughout his life. These rules are not just about romantic love, but about divine, Sufi love, ishq-i haqiqi, the idea that love is the path to God. A vision tells Shams to travel to Konya, where he will find the one he's destined to transform, Jalal ad-Din Rumi, a celebrated Islamic scholar and preacher. Shams meets Rumi. Shams arrives in Konya, a city filled with religious tension, political conservatism, and social hierarchy. Rumi is already a man of status, an intellectual, a jurist, a family man, and a respected theologian. When Shams meets Rumi, he shakes him out of his comfort zone with provocative questions and unorthodox teachings. Rumi initially resists, but he is intrigued by Shams's spiritual depth and raw honesty. Their connection deepens. Shams teaches Rumi that divine love is found not in rigid rituals or doctrines, but in compassion, suffering, beauty, and the human heart. They become inseparable. Transformation and conflict. As Rumi's thinking shifts from legalistic orthodoxy to mystic love, his family and followers grow jealous and suspicious of Shams. They accuse him of heresy, homosexuality, manipulation, even sorcery. Rumi begins to write poetry, inspired by his inner fire, creating verses that will eventually make him one of the greatest Sufi poets of all time. Meanwhile, Shams endures humiliation, threats, and attacks. He knows that his bond with Rumi has a divine purpose, but also a finite lifespan. Tragedy and loss. Shams mysteriously disappears, likely murdered by Rumi's own son, Aladdin, along with other conspirators who couldn't tolerate Shams's presence any longer. Rumi is devastated by the loss, but realizes that Shams has fulfilled his purpose, to awaken divine love within him. From this grief, Rumi becomes the whirling poet, channeling sorrow into ecstatic poetry. He writes the Masnavi, his spiritual masterpiece, often seen as a second Quran to Sufi Muslims. Ella, meanwhile, becomes obsessed with the manuscript. She contacts the author, A.Z. Zahara, a Sufi traveler much like Shams himself. Their email exchange becomes frequent, then intimate. Ella is forced to confront her own loveless marriage and stifled existence. Through Aziz's words, often inspired by the 40 rules of love embedded in the manuscript, she starts to feel alive again. Her heart opens. Aziz tells Ella he is terminally ill, but even so, he invites her to meet him in Turkey. This is Ella's turning point. For the first time in her life, Ella defies social expectations. She leaves her husband, walks away from her routine life, and chooses to follow love. Not because it promises safety, but because it offers truth. She travels to Istanbul to meet Aziz, not just to fall in love, but to embrace transformation, as Rumi did. Though Aziz dies soon after, he fulfills his role in Ella's life, just as Shams did for Rumi. Ella is reborn. She takes up writing, studies Sufism, and continues to live with an awakened heart.